A Homeworthy, hi, it's me, Carson Kressley, and welcome to Park Avenue. I haven't dusted for 30 years.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Well, hello, it's me, Carson Kressley, TV's Carson Kressley. You might have seen me on Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, all the way up to RuPaul's Drag Race, and a lot of shows in between. And this is one of my favorite places. This is my home on Park Avenue here in New York City. I have always had a bit of an eye, even as a little kid growing up outside of Allentown, Pennsylvania, in a very rural community from the same, group of immigrants that came to Pennsylvania in the late 1700s. We settled outside of Allentown, always farmers. And I grew up in a very rural community on a pony farm, pretty gay. And that shaped me in many ways. I love all things equestrian. I had a very stylish mom. It was the 70s and women were wearing hostess skirts and probably families were putting keys in bowls according to the ice storm. And people dressed up and they were kind of swanky about it. Even if you weren't wealthy, you still had a lot of flair and style in the 70s, and that had a great impact on me. And I also always loved interiors. We built our house in 1976 outside of Allentown. Of course, I helped my mom pick out all the custom draperies and do a mural in our living room. And I was the annoying 10-year-old interior designer, helping kind of decorate our house when we built it. So always had that passion for design, for creating spaces, love entertaining at home. Design has always been a constant thread in my life. I also loved fashion. And I went to Gettysburg College in Pennsylvania. And in 1991, the day after graduation, I packed my bags and I moved to New Jersey because I was too afraid to live in New York City and I didn't know anybody and none of my friends from college had jobs here yet. So I waited it out in a basement in Saddlebrook, New Jersey for about 6 months and then got some friends to get an apartment together on New York's Upper East Side. I lived in the dining alcove. My two girlfriends lived in the one-bedroom bedroom. And it was like Three's Company. But I don't think they had a gay character in Three's Company. But eventually. And I always loved designing that space too. It was Ralph Lauren days. I worked for Ralph Lauren. I loved the brand. I loved the aesthetic. I was a horse person. It just totally worked. Southwest was really big and I had a framed print of Georgia O'Keeffe and I had a 4-poster bed and I had Navajo pillows, New York City, 1991. And then after working at Ralph Lauren for quite a long time, maybe 7 years, one day one of our producers who produced all of our photo shoots said, I was riding to work in a cab and I heard about this show. It's going to be called Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. It'll be on Bravo. And I was like, what's Bravo? A nonstick cooking spray? I didn't know what Bravo was. What it was James Lipton and a lot of very cultural kind of programming. And then I tried out for Queer Eye. I got the job. I was sad to leave Ralph Lauren because I worked with the most amazing people, including Mr. Lauren himself. They were so nice and they said, listen, if it doesn't work out, we'll hire you back. I mean, who gets that? So I started my TV career in 2003 on a show called Queer Eye for the Straight Guy on Bravo, Tuesdays at 10, I believe. And a week or two after it aired, we were on The Tonight Show and doing The Ellen Show and driving around LA wearing sunglasses and people were recognizing us and it was very strange, but also very fun. And we won an Emmy for that show. She's right over there. So every TV show I've worked on really is about utilizing my eye for style, whether it's Queer Eye for the Straight Guy or Get a Room with Carson and Tom or How to Look Good Naked, Dancing with the Stars. I've always put a style or fashion element into it. And now even working on shows like Barbecue Brawl and RuPaul's Drag Race, of course, it's about being a judge of style. So don't judge my style too much. I'm not a professional decorator, although I sometimes play one on TV. Okay, so when you walk in, this is New York City. It's not a lot of square footage, This was kind of like a weird foyer or something, and I was just like, I need room to host big dinner parties. So I did a built-in banquette, not that hard to do. You can also buy them from places. And then under it, I did these magnet doors with storage, so I can put skis and like winter clothes, pots and pans that I don't use, whatever. It's like an archaeological dig down there. I haven't even gone through it lately, but gives you a lot of storage and it gives you a lot of seating. I can seat about 10 to 12 people here. Newsflash though, my kitchen cannot cook food for 10 to 12 people. So if I have a dinner party, I order in and then I put it on the plate and no one knows. Don't tell anybody. The features in here, like I said, custom banquette. These chairs are, I think they're like Broyhill or Lane. They're from the 1960s. They are inspired by Brazil in the 1960s. I think the name of the chair is Brasilia. They were like the icky Brady Bunch brown. So I just had them painted white. I recovered them in this faux ostrich skin. It is like vinyl. It is indestructible. It looks great, but it's super easy to live with. On the banquette, again, pro tip, I did the nail head to really make it special. It doesn't cost that much. And then I did it in a performance fabric. That does not necessarily mean it's outdoor fabric. It just means that it's stain resistance is amazing. It's coated. It's gonna perform really well. This entire place and my house in Pennsylvania and my place where I sometimes stay in LA is basically very high-low. It's either like from a high-end designer or it's from Home Goods. Okay, so these urns, I love them. I'm a ginger jar fanatic. There's a couple things I'm crazy about. Ginger jars, porcelain dogs, and anything equestrian. So you're gonna see a lot of that here. And I love flea markets too. So flea market silver bowl, urns from Home Goods or Home Sense, one of those two. I love a hurricane. I use the little battery operated candles. They work totally fine. And then this table, this is really fun. I had this made because it's an unusual space and it has the interlocking C's. So it's kind of like a little bit of a Chanel vibe, but it's also C for Carson. And then I have just historic paintings of horses, either my family's owned or ones that I found when I was just out shopping in the market. So that print over there is a silkscreen by Joe Ando. A friend of mine who's a gallerist in St. Louis gifted me that. So I think it's really important to have lighting on your artwork. So I try to do a picture frame light if I can. I also think it's really important to have variety in your artwork. I tend to go a little, I'm not a coastal grandma. I guess I'm a Park Avenue grandma. I tend to go a little Park Avenue grandma. So I think if you add some contemporary art or even flowers that aren't too fussy, that kind of makes it a little younger. Oh, and then the rug, I have, you know, these stairs lead down into my living room. It's great for open entertaining. The rug, I didn't want something too precious. It's just a cowhide. These are really, really great. It makes the space feel a little more relaxed. It's a little unexpected, but cowhide is great in a dining room because it's naturally stain resistant. Have you ever seen a dirty cow? I didn't think so, because their coat is so stain resistant. So any kind of water or any kind of liquids or any kind of spills, just kind of wipe right up because there's some natural oils in that cowhide that make it really easy to clean. It's nature's performance fabric. So this apartment is a pre-war building, and when you move to New York as a fresh out of college newbie, you don't even know what a pre-war building is. I'm like, which war are we talking about? But I guess it's World War II. So this was built in the 1930s, and it has everything I love about New York. It's the quintessential New York apartment. I watched a lot of Odd Couple growing up with Felix Unger and Oscar Madison, and I thought that's what all apartments in New York looked like. They all had railings, and they all had sunken living rooms, and they all had antique lead windows and a terrace. So I was really naive, but this apartment did exist. I actually looked at this building in 1991 when I first moved to the city, couldn't afford it. It was a very dark little studio, but I always thought, oh my gosh, Park Avenue. I had, visions of Green Acres and Lisa Douglas and, being out on my terrace twirling around in a chiffon negligee. And almost all of that happened. So I bought this apartment in 2003, and these pre-war buildings have great bones. I know we always hear that, that saying, but when you have, beamed ceilings, beautiful hardwood floors, sunken living room, you don't have to do a lot. So I really just did a cosmetic renovation. I zhuzhed up the kitchen. That was actually a pass-through, like a breakfast bar, and I was like, I don't do breakfast bars. We're putting in a bookcase. So I did some extra millwork and kind of played up the Hollywood Regency-ness of it, even though that's not really a vibe for this era or area. I like that look, and I call this kind of glamorized Regency look with a lot of brown and a lot of earth tones Kentucky Regency, because my other love is horses and all things equestrian, and there's a lot of Kentucky vibes in here. Even though I didn't grow up there, it has been like a second home for me because of the horses. So there's a lot of Kentucky vibes in here as well. So then we come down here into the living room, and again, things are collected. I did not have a plan for this apartment. Just when I see things and I love them, I put them together and they usually work. And I've made some mistakes, but not often. So, boucle chairs, again, everything's very traditional in here, except for a couple of kind of fun, unexpected pieces that are more modern. These boucle chairs, they just have a great 70s shape. I put a little Kelly Wearstler kind of modern print pillow on here. This brass table was a Brooklyn flea market find. It has the horse hoof legs, which I love. I got the glass piece made for it. It didn't have the glass, not a biggie. You can go to glass places in any town and they will make a tabletop for you. One thing I collect are these Hermes ashtrays. I don't smoke, but they look gorgeous, and I put my remotes in them, or if I'm lighting a candle, I can put the spent match in there. I always try to have at least one thing of fresh flowers. In New York, it's so easy. You go to the deli. Masses of one thing are foolproof, and they always look better than, I think, an arrangement of all different kinds of flowers. So just go get a bunch of, deli roses and jam them in a low, simple cylinder, and you have a very chic arrangement. This sofa I would call like a tuxedo style. I had it made from a person that makes furniture for me in Queens. It's in a silk velvet. Again, it's actually really easy to take care of. The pillows, probably Home Goods. These lamps I love. A friend of mine was making these, I believe, like in San Miguel de Allende. I saw them at High Point Market. I needed to have them. They're the serpents. And I bought them wholesale. I might have told them I worked for Tom Felicia Incorporated and used his corporate account. And then one day they arrived here on Park Avenue to my doorman building. Standing under my awning were two giant crates from Mexico. And my doorman's like, you've got some packages down here. And I was like, I'll be right down. And then I came down and they were ginormous and very much frowned upon. And I had to take a crowbar, which I borrowed from the building, and opened them up on the street and brought them up here. So they were very delicate. I live for them. This is from Stark, and I love all things like animal print. I think they're a neutral. I don't think of them even as a pattern. They just kind of fade away to me. This has been sandblasted by the nice people at Stark. It gives it kind of a threadbare, worn look. That's what I wanted right out of the gate. And guess what? It is the most durable. You do not know if it's dirty. I have never had this rug cleaned since I've lived here for 25 years. I know that sounds gross. I vacuum it, I clean it. It has never been shampooed. It wears that well. Totally worth it. I mentioned my love of ceramic dogs. I have one in every house that I have. And this one I got at a flea market in Syracuse, New York. I was there for a horse show. and I had this little, trim on it, and I just love it. It was from Bonwit Teller. I just call him Harold, and he's just looking over the whole place. And then just lots of memories. Gallery wall, schmallery wall, like I just have a lot of stuff, so I'm gonna stack it here. My parents got me this, my accountant got me this. Florence Henderson from the Brady Bunch was a dear friend. A friend did me that drawing. These are pieces I picked up at horse shows before I even had an apartment. And people are like, why are you buying all this stuff? I'm like, because one day I'll have a fabulous apartment. I'm gonna need lots of stuff. The Requisite TV. Back in the day, you would put all of your, electronics in here. This is a Jonathan Adler piece. I've always loved his work. It's fun, kind of deco. Now I just have like extra bedding, pillows, things for when people stay over. This is a flea market find. This Degas was from the Bombay Company from like college or high school. Yes, I was the person that had a fake Degas in their dorm room. And then just horsey things. One of my first good ribbon at the World Championships. It's third, but I was overjoyed. So that's framed here. And this lamp is alabaster. It's so chic. I got this from Kyan Douglas from Queer Eye one year for Christmas. This mirrored piece, it's a little worn out. I bought this when we were filming in Dallas, and I went to the Neiman Marcus outlet and they had it. And I had to ask the camera truck to bring it home, and they wrapped it up in a blanket. And it has some nicks and dents, but who cares? It has a great story. I always think every room needs something green. I think it just gives a room life. If you live in a place that gets a lot of eastern sun, you will have no problem with a fiddle leaf fig. And what's great about them is they're kind of like an arid plant. And when you see them like in Italy and Sicily and Majorca, they're in dry settings. So I can water this like every 2 weeks. So if I'm not home and my housekeeper comes, she can water the plant for me. It's a great plant to have if you're not always home and you don't want to baby something. All right, we're going to walk up here to the library. All right, so I love that there are so many moments in this apartment, even though it's really small. I think having the different levels coming up the stairs from the sunken living room to what I call the library, which is just a bunch of bookshelves, gives you the feeling of more space. So this used to be a pass-through. It went into the kitchen. It was like a breakfast bar. There were stools here. I was like, I don't really eat breakfast, but when I do, I drink. So let's put in a bar where a bar ought to be. So I just had them do this antiqued mirror. I think it's, I like things that are aged. I think new shiny mirror would not work in here. A Saint Laurent marble slab. Lots of storage under here. Oh, look, an original collectible Destiny's Child Beyonce doll. Oh, is it signed by Beyonce? Thank you, Carson, for introducing me at the Roxy. Sweet dreams, memories. And then I did nailhead on the bookshelf. So again, a bookshelf. I did one of these at my farm in Pennsylvania. They're great for spaces that don't have a lot of interest because you can fill them up with all of your tchotchkes. And Joni loves tchotchkes. So I have my baseball that I threw out at the Red Sox game, Fenway Park, 2005. And apparently these are, they monogram every ball for the person that throws out the first pitch. So when I threw out the first pitch very poorly, it didn't make it to first base or whatever, the home plate. And then when I was done, I just threw it up into the stands and people were like, you're an idiot. That was like commemorated for you. So they gave me a new one. We love the Red Sox. Love saddlebred horses. This is the greatest saddlebred horse that ever lived. It's his World Championship trophy from 1947. Oh, here she is. Queer Eye for the Straight Guy Emmy. Some pictures of me and my favorite celebs. Dolly and me. Joan Rivers and me, my favorite. You know, and you can't be gay and not have a photo of you and Cher, okay? Both of us dripping in Cavalli circa 2003. I had a mullet back then. My hair looked like Judge Hatchett. But just, it's tons of just memories, and I think that's what bookshelves are so great at. Don't buy your tchotchkes. Like, don't buy some weird little bowl or some figurine. Go to flea markets, get family heirlooms, get something from your mom or your dad. Put all of your favorite people in silver frames and have pictures of all your loved ones. Buy books, read books. That's always a great idea. You'll fill in your bookshelves before you know it. And I am not too particular about like bookshelf styling. I think I just, you know, I use my eye. I put some photos in front of the books. I put some objects. I have a lot of my silver. I do get a little crazy and color code some of the big stackable coffee table books, but otherwise I just let it be pretty organic. And I have a mixture of like books and photos and awards, you know, just peppered in here. Some salt and pepper shakers that I love, and just tons of family photos. And I can walk by here and it's just always good memories. Okay, so we're gonna head to the kitchen, one little pit stop on the way. So I mentioned that my dining room kind of used to be the foyer and I needed a foyer space. So when you walk in the front door, you've got a coat closet here. It's full of a lot of sparkly Drag Race numbers as overflow. This mirror, I think it was from Z Gallery. Like, it looks expensive. It was not. A little bracket shelf where I have one of my most prized possessions. Yes, that is my Joan Ranger's commemorative pin from doing Fashion Police with Joan Rivers. So I can keep my mail or like notes for the day right there, put my keys here. And then in the mirror, I just have notes from people that I love or people that I don't love but have great stationery. So Last Week Tonight, John Oliver, Julie Chen Moonves, Ross Matthews, Ryan Seacrest, my friend Matt Albiani, my fashion designer friend Teddy Von Ranson. Oh, Bobby Flay, that little cutie. What does it say? Carson, I am deeply in love with you. Oh, maybe I made that up. And then one of my friends from Kentucky always sends the most amazing cards with horses, Jason Chadwell. So he is up here as well. But also great memories. Not super effective for checking your hair, but sometimes I move Ryan Seacrest, check the hair, and then I'm gone. You know, what I love most about this apartment is that it's quintessentially New York. It has a terrace, it has a sunken living room, it has those pre-war features. It's super cozy, it's super collected. I feel like a little prince up here in my little tower, and it just feels good. And I didn't even see this apartment when I bought it. I was traveling in Australia making a television show, but I knew I wanted to be in this building. This apartment became available, and my accountant and my best friend sent me a video. This is like before you could even, I don't know how they did that because it was 2003. I don't think you could send videos, but I bought it from a video, and I just love it. So, here is the kitchen, okay? Not gonna lie, I'm not in here too much. I come here for water and sometimes some midnight snacks. And I have all my, you know, celebrity friend cookbooks, Bobby Flay, Rocco DiSpirito. And that's actually funny because one time Rocco came over, we were all out like, I don't know, at a party or something. He said, let's go back to your apartment and I'll cook for you and all your friends. And I was like, unless you can make an 8-course meal with Sour Patch Kids and champagne, you're gonna be out of luck because that's all I have in my fridge. Like, literally, it's like champagne and some rosé and some olives from like 1974. Okay, oh, and some eye patches. It's like an episode of Chopped in here. What can you make with champagne and eye patches? Go. So I don't cook that much. New York It's not where I do a lot of my cooking. It's where I do a lot of my takeouting. So I have all my menus here. Little cappuccino, espresso machine. I think putting artwork in your kitchen is totally fine. This can get like splattered up. It's just like a backsplash. It's just an old-fashioned print. I keep it kind of black and white in here. I love the black and white checkerboard floor. I think that is always classic, always looks fantastic. This kitchen is 25 years old, and you wouldn't know it because there was nothing really trendy in here. I have a little river view here, stainless steel appliances that I don't use too much. Oh, and here's a little trick for you kids at home. These cabinets are fake, okay? That's why there's no handles on them, but I used cabinet fronts to keep it really cohesive to make this space look bigger. This is New York City, so on the other side of these fake cabinets are built-in drawers for important things, like socks and underwear. I usually keep shoes in the oven, and then that was a terrible idea. So I don't do that anymore. Oh, here's my poudre room. That's French for powder room. This is upholstered, okay? This is Ralph Lauren zebra print upholstery. It's such a small space, and when you were in there and I was having parties and I have a speaker in there, the music was echoey, it was weird, and I was like, how can I make this soft and enveloping? So I did zebra print upholstery. It's got a little batting behind it. A wood toilet seat makes every toilet look better. They are so hard to find. I got this years ago. They're very, very hard to find online. It has a hammered nickel sink, which is cute. In the corner, more zebra print. I don't have a lot of like my famous like horses in here throughout the apartment, but I do have them in little moments. This is my favorite horse ever, Enchanting Memories, world champion with little old me, so very special. Flea market mirror, chandelier, faux ostrich wall covering on the ceiling. Do not forget the ceiling. That fifth wall is so important. I think just a plain ceiling looks unfinished. So I put wallpaper in this one in the bedroom, which you'll see in a second. I lacquered it. Don't forget the ceiling. So like I said, I've always loved horses. I'm a very horsey person. Some of the big moments in my career, this is as big as winning an Emmy. This was winning a world championship at the World Championship Horse Show. This one's from 2009. This is a 5-gated American saddlebred that I had since she was a baby. And winning that title, I still get goosebumps. Love this horse so much, and this was just probably the best night of my life. All right, maybe the second best. You know, I have lived in New York since 1991, and I have a farm in Pennsylvania, and I spend a lot of time in LA as well, but New York is home. And when I'm flying into LaGuardia or Newark or JFK and you see the skyline, you're just like, oh my gosh, I live in like the most fabulous, incredible, exciting, beautiful city in the world. And, but the flip side of that is that it's so easy too. Everything is at your fingertips. I can get on the 6 train. I don't even have to go outside, and I can be inside Bloomingdale's in 15 minutes. So like if there's a blizzard or something, no problemo. I can still go shopping at Bloomingdale's and not even get my hair messed up. Everything's easy, like takeout, delivery. And then the flip side is everything's hard. You know, getting things delivered and getting renovations done. That can be a little challenging, but I really do think New York City is the best city in the world. Not because we have all this exciting stuff, but I also think we have the best people. Here is where the mediocrity happens. This is my bedroom, y'all. And remember those cabinets in the kitchen? Well, this is where they stem from. This is the working side. And it's just kind of like a built-in ship's drawer. So I have just nickel hardware. Here are all my unmentionables. So it gives me so much built-in storage. That's really, really important in New York. You're always looking for that jigsaw puzzle way to find extra storage. So I didn't need as much storage in my kitchen. I needed a lot of storage for my clothes, and I get that by having this built-in go into the kitchen. We talked about Stark Carpet. I love them. I think they make the best product. I have no relationship with them other than I love their stuff. This is Antelope. Again, animal prints to me are a neutral. There's a lot going on in here as far as texture, but there's not a lot going on as far as color. So it makes it a soothing bedroom, I think. The walls are faux painted to look like brown and gray linen. The ceiling is lacquered in dove white. That gives me great reflection, great light. This room faces the East River, so I get those river views, tons of sunshine in the morning. So that white lacquer just bounces the light around. I have an antique alabaster light fixture. I think I got that at Urban Archaeology, maybe in the 2000s. I have a very old TV that doesn't work, that needs to be replaced. I have chunky curtain rods from Ralph Lauren back in the day. And I have a very heavy herringbone wool and cashmere Ralph Lauren curtain in here. They insulate the room, they block out the light, they make it feel warm and cozy. And I just love them. I've had them for 25 years. You clean them at the dry cleaner every so often, and they will last forever. We'll head out to the terrace in a minute, but we'll talk about the bed. It is a queen, shocker, and I have a little window pane blanket on here, a fluffy duvet. I got these all from Mandarin Oriental. They do a fantastic hotel collection bedding. I personally think all sheets should be white and crisp and amazing. I like that hotel feeling. It ironically makes me feel at home. I have a lot of pillows. I'm a pillow hoe. And Callista, Kelly Wearstler, Mandarin Oriental, and more nailhead, very Art Deco, kind of goes with the vibe of the building. I like a swing arm lamp by the bed, obviously on a dimmer. Home Goods, 2000 era. This, a very dear friend of mine, Janet Crawford Hicks, painted for me. It has some of my favorite horses. I have Hackney ponies and saddlebreds, but I've also had Friesians and quarter horses and hunters, and it's just a really pretty painting that I adore. I also have a light on it. And then these are mirrored pieces from Venfield. They were one of my splurges. Like I said, everything's either from Home Goods or like from a really fancy place. These were from a fancy place. I just like the mirror. It's easy to take care of. You can put a glass of water right on it. And I just think it adds a little sparkle. The end tables, your light fixtures, those little accessories are kind of the jewelry for your room. So you want to have fun with that. And then my friend Jimmy De Laurentiis, he makes these fabulous teddy bears. I used to have it on the bed, but people thought I was into bondage or something. So now I put him over here with this Louis Vuitton pillow. And then more memories, more mirrored stuff. Pictures of my grandparents, my family. Oh, I love busts. Not the one you were thinking of, but these sculptural busts. I have them all over. I just like the way they look. This is my New York shoe closet. I have one elsewhere too. Gosh, there's so many memories with shoes and like where I wore them. Like these green patent leather Dior's. I wore these like the first time I went on the Oprah Winfrey show. Memories. These Gucci rainbow shoes I wore when I grand marshaled the Pride Parade. And I've done a lot of them. And let's see, what else? What are some fun shoe memories? Well, these are from Tom Ford, and they're made out of upholstery fabric that I have on one of my chairs. And one time, there was a fragrance launch party. It was on the top of the rock, and Tom Ford kissed me right here. And then I think Jennifer Hudson kissed me right here. And then I was just like, how am I not going to wash this cheek for the next 34 years? But I've washed it, and I still love Tom. If you're watching, I have your shoes. Come get them. I have some Louboutins. I have these Buscemi's. Remember Buscemi's? They had a lock on them like a Birkin bag. They had a sample sale. I went crazy. Oh, my first pair of Louis Vuitton shoes. I could probably throw these away. I think they're probably... And then a lot of Gucci. Like, there's a lot of Gucci. There's a lot of leopard. I've got a leopard loafer when one needs a leopard loafer. I have a leopard espadrille if one is wanting to wear leopard in Spain. I have a leopard running shoe from Prada if one feels they need to exercise while wearing leopard. And I probably have a leopard boot, and I'm sure I have a leopard sandal somewhere in here. So I have a problem. My go-to classic shoe that works with everything, whether it's a suit or jeans, spring, summer, winter, fall, is a Gucci loafer. And I usually do like a leather one because that's kind of seasonless. Sometimes I feel like the velvet or the suede looks kind of wintry. You can wear suede in summer, but I think this is a great go-to. No matter what season, what era, they're timeless, they're seasonless, and they always look good. I do love a slipper. So I love Stubbs & Wooten slippers. They make a million different kinds. And more leopard. But don't look in this closet because it needs to be organized. Showbiz is very precarious. Like, you know, you're in one moment and then you're out one moment. And I heard this like rule one time, and I don't know whose rule it was. It's like if you can stay working for like 7 years, you'll be fine for the rest of your life. And I'm like, I'm not. It was like Andy Warhol's 15 minutes, but much longer. And I was doing some kind of talk show, and they said, how long have you been working in the business? And I said, oh, this is my 7th year. And I was like, ding, 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 ding. I think I'm gonna maybe be able to do this for a living. So knock on wood. Queer Eye was 2003. So this is my 21st year in showbiz. Got an Emmy for Queer Eye in 2005 and got an Emmy for Drag Race in 2023. So I'm still kicking. Okay, so again, not a lot of room in New York. So this entranceway was a great place to do floor-to-ceiling medicine cabinets. And I have tons of products. I'm embarrassed. But I have that on both sides. And then you come in, and it's not a huge bathroom, but I tried to do some fun things in here. It has a silver leaf ceiling that's real silver, so it gives it a little bit more reflectivity. I did a chandelier. I'm probably going to change that. I love this Venetian style mirror. I love putting a picture frame light over the mirror. I think I saw that at like the Mondrian or something in the late 90s, and I was like, I have to do that. Just white Carrara marble. I did pink lacquer on the walls. Everybody looks great in pink. So I could look like an old mop, and then I come in here and I look in the mirror and I was like, oh my God, my pink room is doing its trick. And it's making me just look rested and fresh. So this was way before there was a millennial pink. This is like a bubblegum pink, maybe a little softer, a little dustier. Like when you get a bazooka, look it up, kids, and you unwrap it and the bubblegum has dust on it. It's that color. Urban archaeology sconces. Here's a tip. When you get sick of your light fixture, you could put a funny bulb, like a Edison bulb, or you could get a new shade. And I just got these new gray linen shades, but I could change them out for pink, or they could be white, or they could be mercury glass. I have very simple fixtures from Callista. I have some personal effects here. Oh, look, it's a letter from Cher. So that's a fun little thing I get to look at when I'm brushing my teeth. a picture of Joan Collins, my cover of Vanity Fair. Oh, and I love monograms. So I always have monogram towels. I get them from Horchow. I order them online like every 2 years. They're Lauren by Ralph Lauren. They're not expensive. The monogram makes them look expensive. I told you I like busts. So I have two in here. I have a big bust and then I have a little bust over there. So, and then monogram shower curtain, monogram bath mat, and also these little shelves. Again, when you're in New York and you're looking for ways to find space, I just have a little shelf here with my cologne. Oh, back in the day, you would watch TV in the bathtub. So I have a TV in here that swivels around. Oh, here's another thing I love to do. I frame Hermes scarves. And at the farm, I have tons of the big ones. But here, this is just a pocket square. And it was a gift, and I love it. And I just have it framed, and it creates interesting art. Again, don't be afraid to hang art in your bathroom. Yes, there's going to be moisture in here, but I've never had a problem with any of these framed things. As long as they're glass front, you can wipe them off. They'll be just fine. So there used to be a telephone here back when we had landlines. Google it, kids. What is next? I mean, I love design, and my favorite types of show to do are design shows, home renovation, home decoration. If you caught any of Get a Room with Carson and Tom, which I think you can watch online somehow, it was on Bravo. We did beautiful high-end rooms, and Tom did all the work and the sketching and the planning and logistics, and then I would show up like at the last 5 minutes of the show and like put an orchid on the table and be like, oh my gosh, I think we're done. I did more than that, and I really do know what I'm doing. But design shows are what I live for. I love creating beautiful spaces. I was a stylist at Ralph Lauren for a long time, and I also love creating, you know, like vignettes and moments and just pretty things to look at. And I think that translates from fashion styling really easily to home styling. It's about creating these beautiful moments and these magical moments and these kind of fantasies, and I love doing that. Okay, so I'm so lucky to have an outdoor space in New York. This is great when I have parties. It gives the whole apartment a circular flow. I can come out and wave to my neighbors. Hey, put a top on. I can see you. Oh, that is a top. Very wrinkled. This is great. I have a little settee out here. I have a couple plants. Oh my gosh, look, I have a fig, you guys. I grew this myself. I can like live off the grid now. I'm gonna enjoy this fig. Oh, it's actually really good. And enjoy my terrace, and thanks for visiting. Pop over sometime. I've got figs. Are there any more? That was really good. I think home means to me a sense of comfort and feeling enveloped. And when I'm in this apartment, and I just got back from a trip, I was in Lisbon, I was in Mallorca, I was in Sicily. I was working and having fun as well. But when you come back here, I can just drop my bags, I take a hot bath, I roll around in my comfy sheets, and it's just very comforting. It's kind of like the most fabulous hotel suite. And I know that's weird to say a hotel makes you feel like you're at home, but when you travel as much as I do, I like to come home to my own hotel. And this is it. All right, Homeworthy, thanks so much for coming to visit. I'm gonna go lay down and take a nap. That was exhausting.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.